Load management is ruining the NBA. Hey guys, Emmanuel here, and before I jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys to give me the HBO special, and that is the Help a Brother Out. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button and leaving a like underneath this video. I'm not one for long intros, so let's jump into this very important discussion. The NBA is facing a problem that could threaten its very existence in the long run, and that problem is load management. As the years have gone on, more and more players are starting to take games off. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of load management, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when NBA stars take games off, not because they're injured, not because of personal problems at home, but because they want to reduce the amount of wear and tear that they put on their body. Now, this trend was popularized by Kawhi Leonard all the way back when he sustained a major injury when he used to play for the San Antonio Spurs. At the time, Kawhi Leonard refused to play NBA games, even though the team doctors and many other doctors gave him the green light to do so. Eventually, because of this, he was traded to the Toronto Raptors, and even in Toronto, the trend continued for him. He continued to take games off. And at the time, the Toronto Raptors put up with it because of two reasons. A, they were glad to have an NBA superstar on their team. Remember, a lot of NBA stars don't really sign with Toronto because Toronto is in a different country. And then there's B, Kawhi Leonard was a one-year rental. So the Toronto Raptors were willing to do any and everything in order to entice him to re-sign with them the following summer, including letting him just sit on the bench and not play games. Well, this paid off for the Toronto Raptors because eventually the Toronto Raptors went on to win the 2019 NBA championship with Kawhi Leonard. And after this happened, all the analytics people jumped onto this idea of load management. Eventually, Kawhi Leonard refused to sign with the Toronto Raptors and opted to sign with the Los Angeles Clippers because that's where he's from. And like I said, analytics people loved this concept. Basically, the idea behind it was that the numbers were saying if teams rest their star players by not making them play back-to-back games and not playing all 82 games and having them play like 60 games, the idea is it would pay off because come playoff time, the star player would be rejuvenated, they would be healthy and ready to play at 110% by the time the playoffs come, and it would give you a greater chance, a greater probability of reaching the finals or winning a championship, whatever the analytics people thought it would happen. And that sounded all great on paper. But here's what actually happened. It turns out that although you can rest your players in the regular season and still make the playoffs, it doesn't guarantee that you're actually going to win anything in the playoffs. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to make a deep playoff run. It certainly doesn't guarantee an NBA championship. Evident by Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has been with the Los Angeles Clippers for 4 years now. He's been there for 4 years, since 2019, and he has nothing to show for it. The Clippers aren't this team that makes long, treacherous, deep runs into the playoffs. No, Kawhi Leonard has missed so many games for the Los Angeles Clippers, both in the regular season and in the playoffs. The Los Angeles Clippers get bounced out every year, whether it's by the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks, or anybody else. I think they only have one conference finals to show for it in the last 4 years. And so what people thought load management would turn into hasn't actually manifested. It's not resulting in playoff runs. In fact, the opposite is happening. Guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who are playing every game they can, they're the ones winning. And so this trend basically set up a situation essentially in which teams are paying players as if they're playing a full season, but the players are actually playing 60 games. Teams are getting less out of their superstars than they otherwise would be. They're essentially ripping off the owners and ripping off the teams. And recently, players like Lebron James have jumped onto this trend. LeBron takes a lot of time off, and it's becoming a real issue that could come back to bite every single player in the butt in the future. Because in the next collective bargaining agreement, owners are going to use this to their advantage. Owners are going to bring this up as a reason why players should not be getting these exorbitant, huge, massive contract. And for all of you who don't know what the CBA is, the collective bargaining agreement, it's basically the agreement between the players union, the NBAPA, and the NBA that dictates and guides how trades, contracts, and most importantly, revenue is distributed